Welcome to Compass Stories. I'm your host, Veronica Sterling. And my work is centered on helping people who are in the middle of disruption rediscover meaning, strengthen connection, and move forward with courage. I do this through speaking, sharing experiences, and storytelling. I'm grateful that you've joined me for a conversation today. And if it resonates with you, I hope that you will share it with someone else in your life. Thanks for being here. So at this point in my journey, I am hopeful that my travel adventure and the insights and stories that have been shared by the guests here on this podcast have inspired you to think about what purpose looks like in your life and to really feel like a spark has been ignited to want to open up more space to pursue it. And I do know that as a practical matter, having the inspiration to create that space and feeling like there is actually the time are two completely different ends of the spectrum here. I have found someone who's an expert in helping us solve this exact problem. Her name is Claire Edwards. She's a morning routine writer and speaker who helps ambitious 9-to-5ers unlock work-life balance with a powerful morning routine. What I think that you'll really enjoy about this conversation is Claire is not just a guru full of tips and tricks that we should all try and fail or succeed at. Claire is going to talk about building our mental clarity. She's going to talk about making space for these meaningful pursuits in our life. And she's really going to open up about her own pursuits and the evolution and growth of the work that she does and how it's impacted her personally. This is a very uplifting conversation. I'm glad you're here for it. Let's get started. Claire, I've been so excited to have you join me on the podcast. Thank you so much for being here today.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to have this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Tell the listener a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so that's always like the fun question, right? I actually just posted on LinkedIn for my multi-passionate people. Do you say your job first, or do you say all the things you're passionate about first? And it was so interesting to see people's perspective, but I'll start with probably why I'm here. So I am a morning routine writer and speaker. So that specifically means I help 9-to-5ers unlock work-life balance with a powerful morning routine. So that mostly looks like helping people find their hobbies and put them into their morning routine in order to make time for it. I do workshops for companies, groups, communities, and I am currently writing my book on the same subject, so that's been really exciting. I just did my TEDx talk on a similar subject, so very passionate about this. But I also am a dog mom. That is a title I hold proudly. And then my day job, as to relate to my 9-to-5 friends, I work in the supply chain field, doing supply chain for basically figuring out how much product do we need to make every week to keep up with demand. So I live a lot of different hats, but that is the summary.
I think there's two reasons why I was really interested in being able to have a conversation from you and learn more from you about this subject. One is sometimes I worry that people will hear from me and that my message will just get turned into, you can build an Airstream too. Like you can take on this, giant, overachieving work. And that's not what my message is. But I've also been having conversations with people who have experienced major disruption in their life. And as they have sort of found their way to restore meaning and kind of find what purpose means to them again, they are sharing with me all of these habits and all of these things that they have built really into their morning routines. They're and some of it is simple, it's making their bed, but some of it is they're journaling, they're exercising, they're reading, they're studying, they're stacking all of these things up in a way that is making it possible for them to stay on this purposeful journey. And I just thought, I have to find somebody that can tell us how to do that.
Yeah, yeah, because it's a loaded question, right?
Yes.
Which means it's also a loaded answer, but I'll try to give the brief version. Yeah, we all live crazy lives, some of us more than others. We're all different. You know, we can only plan so much, and then things get thrown at us. And so, one thing a tool that I found to be really valuable and that can be really applicable to, whatever is going on in your life is finding what I call an anchor activity. So, an anchor activity is something that you could do anywhere from 30 seconds to 5 minutes in the morning. And it's really a check in point for yourself, even in the really crazy times, right? Like really crazy moments. If we can take 30 seconds to check in and have that anchor activity, whether it's journaling, taking a few breaths, going on a walk, taking a really intentional like shower to just connect, right? What is something that can anchor us to check in with ourselves, even if we don't have a lot of time, right? What is something that we can do to check in? And that became that is something I discovered, especially when COVID happened.
Mm-hmm.
We had no idea what was happening tonight, tomorrow. Things were changing all the time. But I woke up every morning knowing that I could journal, which is my
Yeah.
anchor.
Yeah.
And just that little bit of like, almost like certainty, maybe a slight bit of control. I have a little bit of a control freak, but like, just having those like, for me, it almost became like a 10-minute practice of just like checking in and being like, okay, here's who I am. Here's like who I want to be, even for a few moments. And that whole thing became very apparent, especially during COVID.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. How do we build a morning routine that doesn't just feel like another list of things that we can fail at doing? Like, I
Mm-hmm.
think there are all of these, 5 a.m. club. There are all of these different kind of things out there. And it
Mm-hmm.
just feels like if you don't do everything exactly right, your morning will still suck. And then your whole day will suck and your purpose will fail. But I don't think that's what your message is at all. So, how do
Mm-hmm.
you navigate this being a supportive routine?
Yeah, yeah. That it's tricky because there is a lot of messaging, and it's a lot of like, how many things can you do in the morning and how early can you wake up, and like all of that. But really, in order to be successful, I think about first meeting ourselves where we're at. So, if you're like a 6:30 a.m. wake up person right now, and maybe you have like a routine that you've been doing for a long time, but you do want to make a change, whether that's, hey, I would like to add a daily walk to my day. Meeting yourself where you're at and just focusing on that one thing you want to do, not this like long list of changes, the one change you want to
Same.
make, the one change you want to make, and then habit stacking that with what you were already doing. So I'll give you an example. Say you want to go on a walk, and something that you're already doing is you get up and you brush your teeth in the morning. Okay, now every time you brush your teeth in the morning, you're now going to go on the walk. And you kind of stack those things together to make that new thing not seem so new, I guess you could say. But like picking one thing, habit stacking it to something that you're already doing, and then really, really like allowing that to be good enough. We don't have to have this long list. It doesn't have to be super early. And in a lot of my writing and a lot of my work, to simplify it, I really break it down into 3 questions. So,
Okay.
what do you want to do? Which we just identified as the walk.
Yep.
When are you going to do it? Which we just identified we're going to do it right after we brush our teeth. And then what does good look like?
Oh, that's a
Like,
good one. Yeah.
what does good look like? Whether that's, you could say like a 10-minute walk is good. Or you could say, if I did the walk 3 times a week, maybe not 7, but 3 is good. Because when we don't identify that third question of what does good look like, if we say, if we don't really identify that and we miss a day, we're like, oh, well, like I've messed up.
Yeah. I
It's over.
failed. I'm
I
not
failed. I
perfect.
failed,
Yes.
right? And it's like, well, you did it the other 6. So like, did you really
Yeah.
fail?
Uh-huh.
So like that, what does good look like? I think is something that can be really helpful to ask ourselves. And like, it's a different answer for everyone, right?
Yeah. So it's not so much that there is this like perfect routine and this like perfect way to make it all happen. I don't have to be perfect, but I have to know what I want and how to do. Yeah, that makes sense to me. That's very good. What would you say to someone who is maybe they feel stuck in their life a little bit? They're in a rut. They're restless. They know that there is that passion is missing and they'd like to try to find their purpose. What is some advice that you would give to help them do that?
Mm, that's a good question. And I think it's going to have a different answer for everyone. Um, when I think passion is a big word, and the word that I really use is yellow, like finding those hobbies and those projects and those like just things that like light you up. And I think that's partly what you're asking about in terms of purpose. And it it's hard to find, but I think it's being open to finding it. And in a way, it kind of shows up in a lot of different places that we don't even realize. Like think about like the content that you consume, like really noticing the trends in which like what types of like people are you following, whether it's on podcasts or social media or YouTube or uh, TV, whatever it may be, because it can often point to like the things that you care about, are interested in. And so I always like to like ask people that, because it can get you like starting to think without that just like humongous question of like what are you passionate about? Like start looking at like the things that you already consume, and like that is a way to kind of think about it. Really thinking about too, like what is something you like to do as a kid when you were younger, because it can often also point to like what would your interests be now. And so like maybe that's like a passion and a purpose in a way you can
Huh.
find things. But it's a big question, and it's very personal. And I think there's a lot of ways to find it and look for it. but also realizing too that we don't have to know what it is right now, and we can explore and evolve and change. Like, uh, a lot of people I talk to or whatever, they're, you know, I'm someone who posts on LinkedIn a lot about like these topics, and they're like, oh, I want to start doing that. And they're like, but I don't know. But they're like, but I'm not a writer, or I'm not the expert, or I'm not the whatever, whatever, whatever. I'm not a speaker. I'm not. And it's like, you don't necessarily need to be anything.
Okay, that's good.
Like, what do you just want to have more conversations about?
That's
What
great.
is something that you want to have more conversations about? Because if you want to have those conversations, you're going to then draw in those like minded people that also want to have those conversations. And like your purpose and your passion will be evolving. I don't know if I think I answered your question in like a
Yeah.
lot of, I was like, it sparked so many things for me. So I will let you, I mean, how have you found your purpose, or how have you kind of like helped other people navigate their purpose?
I feel like that's a loaded question. I feel like I found it. I don't think I took an easy path to it. I think I found it kind of kicking and screaming and d- just deciding that I just had to let go of just turmoil. So I used to have a career that was on call 24/7. So I was also always on call
Mm-hmm.
myself. We had multiple sites. We had shift change at 7 and 7. And I just had this life that was filled with interruption. And I also was sort of built to be an achiever. So I just kept trying to accomplish the next thing on the list. So this meant I was busy all the time. And I was definitely accomplishing the list. I don't care how many check boxes somebody put on it. I was
Mm-hmm.
going to get every single one of them, right? And that was all fine and great. And I really thought I was, you know, holding it together and like achieving this great life.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, I had to face the reality that I wasn't, that what I was doing was working a lot. I was wrapping up my entire identity into the role that I had. And even though I had things in my life that were interesting to me, I love to travel, I love to have dinner parties, I love to read. Like I had all of these things that I would say are very enjoyable to me, but there was no space for them because they didn't really fit on that list that I thought everything in my life
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be. So, I mean, I definitely took a very dramatic way to start shifting that around, right? I mean, we bought this 40-year-old Airstream. We said, oh, we'll, fix this up. We're just going to go, travel for a year. And the Airstream that we bought was a hot mess. We had no idea that it would ever, it took us 3 years to renovate it. We did not expect that. And so what I started to notice was even in those 3 years, I was not yet traveling. I didn't think I was doing the thing that I was trying to accomplish, but the reality is I was, because I was spending so much of my time intentionally, even if that time was scraping the rust off of the frame of the camper
Mm-hmm.
or, just all of the grunt work that came with
Mm-hmm.
building it. And so that I think for me became this realization that there can be time available if we start reducing all of the things that, like, if we reduce that list of what has to be the priority.
Mm-hmm.
So I still had a career, right? Like I still had to show
Mm-hmm.
up for work. I still had to be on call, but the pressure that I put on myself to be perfect or to just, keep checking the boxes off of that list. I could
Mhm.
let go of that pressure and then somehow have more energy, which just meant that I had more time in a weird way, even
Mhm.
though all of my time was still being used, and in some ways even more of it was being used because I was
Mhm.
renovating this old motorhome. So
Mhm.
yeah, I think I would say the same thing as you, Claire. I don't know exactly how to tell someone, I
Mhm.
build an Airstream and you can too, but I do
Mhm.
think that it starts with having some idea. Like you said, you have to have some idea
Mhm.
of what you wanna
Mhm.
do, and then I think you have to let yourself realize that you are doing that thing. It's not just this, "Someday I'll
Mhm.
get to it," but even
Mhm.
when you're in the muck of it, you're still doing. I like that you said you have an anchor activity because,
Mhm.
if you're just giving it that 3 minutes or whatever it is, that's still
Mhm.
that intention that's being put into it. So I think that's great.
Mhm. Yeah, and I when you started talking about like the work that you were doing on the Airstream, even though you guys weren't traveling yet, like I think about that as like planting the seeds for like everything to bloom. Like if you guys didn't put in all that work, you would never have gotten to like see the blue like see the
Yes.
travel, see the blooming. And so like even if you don't think you're doing it, like every time you show up, you are planting the seed for the next thing. You may not
Yeah.
know it, but
Yeah.
you really are. And so like not discount that, right? Um, but also thinking about like, you know, there's probably like this purpose or this idea inside of you that you have, and there's something about like not waiting to take action or not waiting to plant the seed. And I think we always think of someday and someday and
Yes.
someday and someday. And then we get to next year, and every time we're like, oh, it just keeps getting punted.
Yeah.
And then we never do it. Like how many times have you said, I have an Airstream or whatever, we travel, whatever, and someone says like, oh, I wish I could do that.
Every day that we're on the
Every
road. Yes.
every day. And it's like and maybe it's not like that exact thing, but like we all have things that we say like, "Oh, we wish you could do that." And there's certain things, based on our situations that we can make happen. Uh but like what is holding us back from doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll hear a lot of people say, "Oh, I really want to do X, Y, and Z."
Mhm.
And I'll be able to start doing that in 9 years from now when I retire. And it's not that they'll
Mhm.
be able to start doing it in 9 years because they're building this plan. It's that they are delaying the idea of that thing until they retire. And I think it's like, uh, you 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 speak very positively about
Mhm.
work-life balance, and
Mhm.
I take a little bit of a hot take on work-life balance, but I don't
Mhm.
think it disagrees with you.
Mhm.
But I do feel like sometimes when people use that phrase, it sounds really boring. It sounds
Yeah.
like it
Yeah.
sounds like a but it sounds like a this is why I'm saying I don't think that my belief on this has an incongruency with yours. I think that sometimes when people talk about work-life balance, they're describing this really weird compromise where
Mhm.
they have one foot planted on this side of the fence and one planted on that, and they're just, trying to like evenly
Mhm.
distribute, which really means neither side is getting a passionate approach.
Yeah.
And I think I've just learned that sometimes at work, like sometimes work takes the time and sometimes you
Yeah.
take the time. And if I got up early on Saturday, I could have more time to renovate the Airstream. And if I needed to scale back on that project because work was tipping the
Mhm.
scale or my level of energy was draining, then I had to start looking for different projects to do on the Airstream. Like, I had to learn how to
Mm.
keep moving forward, but not just, like, forcing myself to go
Mhm.
forward. Yeah. I don't know if I
Yeah.
totally described that, but
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. And yeah, work-life balance is such a the thing is like it's such a familiar term to people, but
Uh-huh.
everyone has such a different definition. And
Yes.
it's like, so yeah. When I liked your analogy of like kind of like having a foot in both of like the work and the life. But when I think about like the work-life balance term, maybe it's like not the best term necessarily, but I think about like neither getting lost or to like 0%, right? Like it isn't 100% work or anything like that to the point that you can't live the life that you want, right? It's not
Yeah,
always
that's
going to
good.
be it's not always going to be balanced because it's never going to be. And like, it's totally okay if, this week work requires a lot, and next week family requires a lot, and the next week maybe you have like certain, like with your podcast episodes, you're like, oh, maybe you have 3 this week, and it's just, it happens to be like, that's the thing this week. It's like, that's okay. And like I really think about this like the whole like work-life balance thing or whatever, like a pie. So if your life was a pie, what are the pieces that make up your life? So examples could be work, family, your health, if you have like yellows or hobbies, whatever that may be, like what are your pieces that make up your life? And it's not about making them all balanced because they're just not going to be. But what do you want to make sure stays on there
Mhm. Yeah.
and doesn't get removed, right? Like when work gets busy, like making sure you still have date night at
Yeah.
some point, right? At some point. Like
Yes.
it's making sure that nothing that is like really, really important to you gets to absolute zero is kind of
Yeah.
how I look at it.
Yeah, that's great advice. I also think that if we pursue our passion, like really start navigating a life towards it, that when we start it, we don't actually have any idea how, like, the potential of how big it can grow. And so, I mean, and I think of that some when I think of you. I don't think that you just said one day, now I'm going to be a morning routine coach. I think that
No.
I think that you somehow decided that you were gonna put yourself on this journey, maybe just your own personal journey to have a morning routine, and now it's grown into speaking, coaching, writing, and, uh, when did you realize the potential of this to really be, like, a passion in you that could become bigger? And I guess before that, like, how did you even
Mhm.
come to realize that the morning routine was so important to you?
Yeah, yeah. Uh, because none of it happens overnight, right? Like we don't
Yeah.
wake up and we're like, I'm gonna do this. I mean, some days it feels like that, but no, when I with the real moment for me was when I graduated from college and got into my first corporate job. Like loved the job, super excited about the job. But I found myself getting to work, sitting down and being like, I think there's more than this. Like, I think there's more than this job. And so, like, I was definitely in this like eat, sleep, work cycle that you get into really, really easily. And I was like, well, I think there has to be more than there. I think there definitely is more than this. So, like, what are the things I'm interested in? What are the things that I want to do? to kind of like be more than the work,
Yeah.
because it's like I'm not just a supply chain analyst. Like I have all these interests, and like I want to be an interesting person. I want to be healthy. I want to like pursue cool things. And like I was really young, so I was very like world is my oyster at
Yeah.
23. So like the first thing I did was I took a course on podcasting, and I was like, I'm just gonna like start a podcast and like talk about just like wellness topics, just wellness, like whatever that whatever that means, like just these broad topics, right? But I was like, I don't know, I think this could be cool. Like, let me try this. Uh, and so I started like podcasting in my like little apartment closet with
Yes.
like, I think this is my actual original microphone from when I was 23. But I like started podcasting in my closet and like talking about wellness, and then the podcast turned into a blog just again about wellness. And then slowly, as I like wrote more and more and more about just like this broad wellness topic, I found how much I loved and other people loved talking about morning routines and talking about uh, now I called them side projects then, but I always knew they were more than that. Working on yellows, so like talking about like morning routines and like how I was like making time for these like other things outside of work and like
Uh-huh.
putting them in the morning because I was always way too tired after work to do anything remotely interesting. So I was like, well, what if I do it in the morning? And like, that is literally the only way like a podcasting and blogging and any of that happened. Um, so I'm telling this in a very roundabout way because there's a lot that happened during that time, but I like found that the mornings were working. So I started writing about that
Yeah.
a lot more. That turned into like making a morning routine like workbook for people so that they can like design their own.
Uh-huh.
That turned into doing speaking engagements on morning routines very slowly, doing a lot of free stuff. Like all of this was free, like all of it. So it turned into speaking, and then like it turned into social media videos, it turned into like LinkedIn posts. And now I'm to the point where it's turning into like I just did my TEDx, like now it's turning into a book, and it has just evolved this whole time, honestly, because I just love it. I love the topic. I love writing about it. And this has now like been 8 years
Cool.
of
Yeah.
talking about this and like doing it, and like I've made barely like barely any money, but like honestly it's just brought me like so much joy and identity, and allowed me to like meet like we wouldn't have met if I
Yeah.
wasn't doing like this type of thing. So like getting around like really cool people, and it has just evolved so much over time. But yeah, I think you get stuck a little bit at each point, being like sometimes it's like, have I grown? And like, we compare ourselves of like, have I grown a lot or grown enough, or like what is my definition of success
Yes.
for
Yes.
this? And that can be really difficult. But I have found through all of those things I did that if you, and like some I enjoyed more than others, and there's reasons why I have evolved into like different things, the more you enjoy what you're doing, the better you're going to get at it. The
Yes.
more other people are also going to enjoy it because they can see that you're enjoying it. And so I think to like not discount, even if like the money's not there, maybe like people don't really get what you're doing. Like if you love it and you continue to plant the seeds, Like, and maybe I need to take my own advice on this sometimes, but like it's going to bloom
Yeah.
into
Yes.
something. And even if you don't know what the heck it's going to be.
Yes. 100%. I agree with that. Did you ever feel like, did you go through this awkward phase where you're like, okay, I'm doing this different thing. I'm putting myself out there. People are going to know that I'm interested in something. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you deal with that awkwardness?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's such a good, such a good question. Um, yeah, because like when I first like said I was like, oh, I'm doing a podcast or whatever, and like posted it on Instagram, right? Like I was so excited and so terrified at the
Yeah.
same time,
Yeah.
right? And it's been scary every single thing that I've pursued. But like yeah, that like awkwardness of like how do I like push through that, or like taking your LinkedIn from like a very corporate LinkedIn to like
Yeah.
I am in corporate still, but like I'm also doing this like side thing, this side interest, and like getting through that awkwardness. Um, it's it almost takes like I don't love this answer, but it almost takes just continuing to show up and believing in what you're doing. And I honestly wish along the way that I wasn't because I hesitated sometimes, either like telling people what I was doing or something like that. And I wish I talked about it more because it would have given me the opportunity to connect with more people. But we get scared, right? Because I call it have you ever experienced this where you tell someone what you're doing? Let's say like this happens all the time to speakers, right? Oh, I'm a speaker. And people are like,
Oh.
"Oh,
Yeah.
oh." I call that, Veronica, I call that getting the look.
Yes.
Getting the look. Like if you tell your parent like, "Oh, I'm going to like do that, like I'm going to be a speaker, or I'm gonna do this engagement, or like I'm
Mhm.
gonna start a podcast, or I'm gonna blah blah blah." Like telling someone that and like them being like, huh.
Mm. Claire, that's my whole life right now.
They're like getting the look and getting I don't know if you ever get comfortable with getting the look.
Yeah, I don't know if I think you just have to accept that it's a part of the journey. But
Yeah.
I mean, I guess in some ways there's some version of that look that's always been there. There's somebody,
Mm-hmm.
in the office down the hall that has that same look about your outfit or your idea that you shared at the last, work session. Like the look is everywhere. It definitely
Mm-hmm.
feels like it's much more dramatic if it is a look at like, oh, you are considering
Mm-hmm.
me, not just
Mm-hmm.
my idea or my work title, but
Mm-hmm.
you're considering me with a
Mm-hmm.
very perplexed look on your face. Yeah, that's harder.
Yeah. Yeah, and I almost find it I don't know what your experience is. I almost find it easier to tell strangers about my idea than it is to tell the people close to you,
Yes.
because you don't put as much weight on like the stranger's the look or
Uh-huh.
opinion.
Yeah. And it's like this very weird phenomenon where I feel like there are people that in my life are pretty much complete strangers to me, but I could think of them as people who are 100% like cheering me on because
Mhm.
they found something that I posted online to be inspiring, or they heard my message and it connected in the right way. And so now they stay in touch with it. And it's like those are the people that keep me going, even
Mhm.
and then it becomes easier to not see the oh from other people. Yeah.
Mhm. It makes you feel like so much less crazy. Like like you and I met through National Speakers Association of Ohio, and I just like love I like say like I showed up there for like the content of like learning,
Yeah.
but I stay for the community because that is a room where, and like I wish everyone can find their version of this room,
Yes.
but like that is a room where I am not like, I can say whatever my idea is, whatever it's like speaking, writing a book, I'm going to do this event, I'm going to do blah, 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 blah. And like, you will rarely get the look.
Yeah. Yeah, and I feel like that's a piece of life advice that like we're always given, right? Like if there's
hmm
something you want to do, get yourself into a room with people that are doing it so
hmm
that you'll be inspired by them. And it's kind of like, okay, get yourself in the room. But I felt the same way. Like once I
hmm
started spending time with people in this organization, it was never a, oh, you're going to start a podcast? It was, oh, well, of course you are. Like,
Well,
obviously, yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
like,
And just being able to see like so many people with these very creative, clever, smart, quirky, like
hmm
just any like description you could come up with. Like they have these ideas and they've turned it into something. And for me, that was really inspiring to be able to come into that kind of room while I'm
hmm
walking in thinking, I might have an idea and know if I don't know if I can share it with other people. And then suddenly there's a room of people that all want to know what it is and all are
hmm
excited to be a part of it. Yeah. So I think
hmm
that finding your people has to be one of the like essential pillars
Oh
of
my gosh.
pursuing a purpose.
Oh my gosh. Like, I don't think I believed in that a lot when I was younger, or even it didn't feel as possible during like, COVID time.
Yeah.
But as we've exited that over the next couple years, like it is, like I have this theory that like it's not information that is like going to make us better at this point. Like, sure, whatever. Like with the world of AI, like you have all the information at your fingertips.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's like the community aspect and like getting around people, like the community and the accountability. Like if you said, "Hey, I'm going to start a podcast," well, I'm going to ask you about that the next time I see you. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like it's like this,
Mhm.
there's those things that like actually make us pursue the passions and the purpose. And it's like the people piece and getting around those people is like such an in like you can't put like a price on that. um,
Yeah.
and it's or yeah, or like someone connecting you to another person that like you're like, oh, I think you would really vibe, or you really help out each other. Like it is crazy how far that goes.
Yes. It's almost like if you think you're running well, like you said earlier, like you have to define what is good. And if
Mhm.
it's like if you're just not convinced that you're hitting good, that community will give you the steam. But like there is that
Mhm.
boost there to like help you keep believing in
Mhm.
yourself a little bit, I think.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And almost in a way too of like knowing what's possible, I guess you could
Yes.
say.
Yes.
Like I don't even think I even really knew that like being a professional speaker, like getting paid to speak was a thing.
Yeah.
and um and it's like getting around people to show you like what's possible is really, or even honestly getting around people that maybe believe in you more than you believe in yourself
Yeah. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
can
Well,
be really helpful as well.
I think it's part of that when you start something, when you start pursuing your passion, you can only imagine it being so big and it likely has the potential to be 10 times bigger than what you can
Mhm.
imagine. And so it's the other people that they've already accomplished more, maybe, or they've
Mhm.
experienced more. So it's like they already know that
Mhm.
even if their passion is a little different than yours, like they already know that there is this future potential that you can grow into. And
Mhm.
yeah, I think that's why
Mhm.
everybody has to find a community. Yeah, I think
Mhm.
that our
Yeah.
capacity really expands when we have other people.
Yeah. And like that can be, I feel like that, I don't know about you, but I feel like that took me a really long time to find. Um, and it kind of took like putting the ideas out there or your interests out there, like even awkwardly on like
Yes.
Instagram or on LinkedIn or something for to be able to find or like going to events, like a chamber event or something.
Yeah.
It kind of took like telling people what you're interested in to be able to find the right community.
Yes. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's true.
Mhm.
Have you ever felt like you're just gonna give up on this? Like
Have
and
you
how
been there
did
as
you
well?
I have friends who they had a motorhome for a long time and we've actually traveled together in our two motorhomes across the country. And we have this joke that like one of the options that never leaves the table is you can just light this thing on fire and go home. So you just can just quit.
Blow it
Eh,
all up.
yes. And when we first started this journey, I had a neighbor. She lived right across the street from us, and she was probably in her 70s. And we were selling our house. We live in a house now, but we couldn't have the Airstream in this neighborhood. Like we had to move. So we were selling our house. We were going to start taking this big trip. And we also were completely gutting this Airstream. I mean, it had broken down on our first drive home.
Mhm.
We took it on like a shakedown trip to try to drive from here to Columbus, a 90-minute trip. It took us 2 days because it broke down again. So people were very skeptical about
Mhm.
whether or not this was a safe idea, a good idea, responsible. And my neighbor said to me, she's like, "Veronica, I- this is pretty simple. You're going to sell this house. You're going to finish the Airstream. You're going to go drive across the country. And if you don't like it, you'll just turn around and come back. And if you really want to, you'll buy a house again right on the same street." And that has always stuck with me because I do think that you have to have a responsible plan.
Mm.
You have to have a good dose of faith, but there has to be some responsible planning involved. But I also think that we build up the risk sometimes to this just fake level. And we just create
Mm.
this fake idea of
Mhm.
all of these reasons why we can't do it. And the reality is we can always just turn around and go home.
Mm.
So, have I wanted to give up on this?
Mhm.
No. And I
Mhm.
don't now. I did not know in 2018 when we bought this. I thought that we would just have some really cool travel stories. Like, I did not know that I would help sell or close 2 companies, that I would have these major changes in my career, that I would say, "Let's just take this whole gap year and go on a bigger adventure. Let's start speaking to strangers about it. Let's stand up in front of a
Mhm.
room and, share my grief and turmoil, and calamity publicly with others to,
Mhm.
judge and be inspired from." I had no idea that any of this would happen. But I don't think that it ever occurred to me that something wasn't going to happen. Like, sometimes I'll joke and
Mm,
say, "Well, I don't know what's happening next, but I think it's already started." So, yeah, I don't
mm-hmm.
think I'll ever give up on it. I'll just let it keep evolving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with the last thing you said of like it's going to keep evolving. Like
Yeah.
it might not look the same from year to year, but like you'll always maybe do like a little piece of your airstream like even when you're
Yeah.
old, right? Like maybe you'll
Huh?
follow along with people who have an airstream and you'll be on the phone with them giving them advice about, right? Like I'm like, oh, make sure you do this.
Yes.
But yeah, in a weird way, like I have not I have not thought about quitting
Yeah.
this. I really haven't. It's evolved. It's just evolved over time. I did pause it for a little bit unintentionally.
Yeah.
This like type of work of like I kind of just stopped writing, and I noticed it was because the rest of my life was kind of um not fueling it, like in a way where it was like I was in like a position in my job, in a position in a relationship where it was draining me so much that I had no energy to give my
Ooh.
passions
Yeah.
and the things that I wanted to do. And that wasn't an intentional decision. It kind of just started happening over time of like, you just started spending less and less time on the passions because everything else was just draining so much that there was nothing else to give
Yeah.
to the things that I wanted to do. So I have paused it unintentionally before a couple of years ago, but I've never been like, oh, I'm going to quit. Like, of course, there have been hard times, like, especially in this book process where I'm like, this is such a freaking, it's just such a long process. I'm like, you're like, am I even going to sell anything? Blah, 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 blah. But I haven't thought about, like completely stopping. It's just always been like, oh, if I don't like what I'm doing in terms of like that
Mhm.
format, I guess you could say, of the passion,
Yeah.
how can I evolve to something that is a little bit more aligned with me right now? Like for example, I did the like kind of like talking videos on Instagram for a long time.
Mhm.
And I did that for about a year. And I was like, especially because I was trying to get into speaking. And I just like I did it, but I liked the topic. I didn't like the format. And so I always just loved writing. And so I was like, well, what if I just like lean into LinkedIn and leaned into my newsletter, and like I just ended up loving that so much more. Um but I will say that I do struggle with it's not the like, well, I quit or whatever. The I do struggle with I think I could always think a little bit bigger
Yeah.
and dream a little bit bigger. Um and I think I have some work to do of like that self-belief that
Yes.
like, oh, I can succeed at that. And so that's something I'm really working on right now is like allowing myself to dream bigger, envision bigger,
Yes.
um even the things that don't seem super practical right now,
Yes.
or like coming up with a creative answer to like figure out how to do that. But like I've been really trying to work on dreaming bigger, and an affirmation that has really been helping me, as corny as that sounds, but an affirmation that has really been helping me is I have everything I need to succeed.
Yes. Yes.
Because I didn't always believe that, but I have everything I need to succeed is just something that has really been resonating
Yeah.
lately.
Yeah, that's very good. Um, I am fortunate to have a couple of people in my life that they are friends of mine, but they also offer like a mentorship type of relationship. And with one of them, anytime I say, well, I mean, I don't know if this could ever get that big, or I mean, I don't know if I would ever be able to
Mhm.
do this, but, and he'll say, why did that even come out of your mouth? Why would you even say that? Like,
Mm.
just, of course you could do that.
Mhm.
There's absolutely no reason why you couldn't achieve the bigger thing. And I was talking to the other person, talking about taking this trip, these goals that I have, set for myself for this year. And I was sort of like, I mean, I don't know what's the worst that could happen. And that was definitely coming from a place of insecurity, of a,
Mhm.
if it just off, like, well, it could all fail, right? That would be
Mhm.
the worst that could happen. And he said to me, well, I guess the worst that could happen is you only achieve half of your goals and you take this really awesome trip. And I thought, oh, okay. I'll try to hold on to that
Mhm.
one for a little longer. Yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, half the goals is better than zero, like,
yeah.
right? And we have to remember that.
Yeah.
Um,
I do
but
think,
yeah, yeah. Go
oh,
ahead.
well, I think it's interesting that you said that you unintentionally stopped pursuing these
Mhm.
like passionate things
Mhm.
because other things in your life were taking too much of your energy, other
Mhm.
relationship, work.
Mhm.
And that is very honest to share. Thank you for sharing that. But I think it's a little too easy to just take the premise of, oh, I haven't figured out my morning routine and my hobby because I'm just too busy and unmotivated. But there is kind of a more honest take that we
Mhm.
have to kind of look through a lens sometimes to say, is something else like, am I holding on
Mhm.
to this anchor and just letting it drain me and not
Mhm.
giving me the energy to pursue this other thing?
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll be
Mhm.
thinking about that later when I
Mhm.
reflect on this conversation.
I almost think about like just what is taking up your brain space?
Mhm.
Like, what do you think about in the shower? What do you think about when you're driving? What do you think about when you're walking? Just like what comes up. And like, are those the things that you want to be spending mental energy on?
Yeah.
Are they not? Like, I feel like in those moments in the shower, in the car, on a walk, whatever it may be, like it becomes very apparent of what is consuming your mental energy, whether you like it or not,
Yeah.
right? Whether it's like a worry about work or a like anxiety moment about a relationship or like I have some new ideas for like right now I have some new ideas for like events that I would possibly want to put on and like that's something I've never done before but like I think about it in the shower, I think about it in the car, like I like it just like comes and it's like I've almost thought about it so much that I can't not do it. Like I
Yes.
can't not try.
Yes.
Um and
That's
so like
awesome.
noticing what is like taking up your mental space whether you like it or don't like it is I feel like it can be really really it can point you to like what is actually happening.
Yes. Yeah, that's great. I also like that you talk about having hobbies when we're kids because I
Mm,
think that as adults, yes, we have some more time constraints than we do when we're kids. But we're really allowed to have a lot of hobbies when we're kids. And when we become adults, I don't think it's just our time that stops that. It's the self-doubt, It's
Mhm.
the we get a little too uptight about like
Mhm.
how much fun
Mhm.
are we allowed to have, you know?
Mhm.
How different can you
Yeah.
be from everyone else? Yeah. So that
Yeah.
yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Like fitting a certain image, like
Yes.
especially fitting the image of like what is professional.
Yes.
Like that is like a huge that is a huge one.
Mhm. And
Yeah.
that's a risky one because it risks letting your work then become the all-consuming identity.
Mhm.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, it can be. But yeah, we don't allow ourselves as adults to like enjoy things like we did when we were kids. And like, I mean, I'm sure there's like a lot of reasons why, of whether that's like society expectations, the adulting things like you got to unload the dishwasher and you got to
Yeah,
clean the
yeah.
house and you got to go to the grocery, and there's all those things, but like allowing there to be space for all the other things, which is like a constant thing I have to remind myself of, like, you got to continue to make the space for those things. And that's why morning routines have really been that like system or like containment of
Yes.
like how, for me, how I can ensure that those things that I enjoy continually happen. Because for me, if I don't do the writing or the speaking prep or anything like that in the morning, for me, it often, like, I don't think it would happen after work, between my mental energy and like, as soon as work starts, it kind of like,
Yeah, it's the thing. Yeah.
yeah. So like it's like finding like the system or like the containment space
Mhm.
to do that. Whether it's a morning routine or um putting it on the calendar.
Mhm.
My grandma lives like 12 minutes away, and I have a monthly calendar spot on
Yes.
my calendar for dinner with her,
Yes.
because I want to take advantage of the fact that she lives 12 minutes away from me. And so like making having that like reminder on my calendar of like, oh, it's time to like book dinner with Grammy or whatever for this month. Uh it like is almost that because I'm such like a systems person, and like like all of this stuff, like having a system to ensure that we get that time together has just been like a really valuable system for me, of like, it's whether, even if it has to move a day or something, you don't delete it, right? You don't
Yes.
delete it. It's always on the calendar. So
Okay. So tell me, give me just a couple of tips to set up my morning routine system. I mean, you talked about like finding the
mhm,
anchor activity, but now I've done
mhm,
it. I'm ready to
mhm.
go.
Yeah.
What do I do on Monday morning to make this happen?
Yeah, that's a really how do I make sure I don't go down a rabbit hole on this? First, like answer those couple questions that I asked before of what are you going to do? When are you going to do it? And what does good look like? So like having that plan in place. And then honestly, most importantly, based on having that plan in place, think about what time you need to wake up. And so therefore, what time do you need to go to bed?
Oh, okay.
Because if you're not going to bed at a reasonable hour, there's a pretty good chance nothing of that is going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
So really kind of like once you have that morning plan in place that we talked about, like being like, okay, so that requires getting up at this time. And so therefore I need to go to bed at this time. Um, because it really starts the night before. Um,
Okay.
and I'll kind of caveat that with saying that a lot of us focus on get really like stuck on what time we need to wake up for our morning routine. Like
Mhm.
that's just like a really, you're like, oh shoot, like I have to wake up at 6 to do this. Like, oh, sounds terrible. But instead of focusing on the time, focus on who are you waking up for?
Mm, okay.
Who are you waking up for? Are you setting your alarm at night? Are you setting your alarm for the next morning? Is it for work, which is a lot of us set our alarm for work? Is it for ourselves? Is it for our family? Is it for our hobbies, dreams, passions, our future self? Like, is it for our dog? Like that happens to me sometimes. Um, who are you waking up for? Because if you can proudly answer that question, it's going to make the earlier wake up time a whole lot easier, whole lot easier. And then also when you get to the nighttime part of it, right? You're watching Netflix, you're scrolling your phone, you're trying to wind down, whatever, and you're trying to go to bed at a reasonable time.
Yes.
Remembering who are you waking up for kind of gives us that reason to be going to bed at that reasonable hour
Yes.
to get the
Yes.
sleep we want and to have this amazing morning routine that we want.
Okay. That's very good. Yeah. If you can wake up for everyone else, you can wake up for your own dreams and
Mm-hmm.
passions too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Claire, a
Yes.
question that I've asked, I think everyone I've talked to so far is what has surprised you the most about this pursuit that you're on? Like, where has your capacity for all of this surprised you or otherwise?
Ooh, that's a really good question. What is like the most surprising? Oof, that's a really good question. I would say, I guess my initial answer would be like how many people, there's a lot of people who didn't get it, right? There's a lot of people who didn't get what I was doing, whether it's speaking, writing, the topic, whatever. But like how many people did get it and how many people, like me posting about the topic or whatever, how many people it allowed me to connect with and have a very vulnerable conversation with. There will be people at work who I don't work with on a regular basis who I'll see at the water cooler who, because they saw like my post on LinkedIn about, mornings or whatever, um we all of a sudden at the water cooler are having this really vulnerable conversation about their morning or like what they're trying or what hasn't been working. And it's really gotten to like open this line of communication and vulnerability and connection with people like in real life. Like, yes,
Yeah.
I'm posting online, it creates conversation online, but there's a lot of quiet lurkers on LinkedIn. It's a lot of quiet
Yes.
lurkers, you know, but it's those like real life conversations that like doing this has opened up and it's given I think some people now feel like they have the permission to like talk about it, which is amazing. And so the amount of like in real life conversation that it has created and allowed like that connection to happen was really surprising because at the beginning I was like I had a lot of self-doubt about like are people going to get it. I was really focused on that look that people were giving me when I would get it, and like over time as I got more confident and clear in my message, like the amount of connection that it has driven, even with strangers. And so like if anything I would say like keep putting, if you have a message, if you have a passion, if you have an interest, like keep putting it out there because you never know who it's going
Mhm.
to resonate with and like
Yes.
what it is. And like, I constantly need to remind myself that of like, you have no idea who it's going to resonate with and all that stuff. But I would say like that was the most surprising thing of just like those like little connections that now get to happen because I get to like write about what I love. But I would say that is the most surprising thing of like, I never expected to have those like water cooler conversations with like the guy from IT that I never talked to, but now is chatting with me about his morning routine, which is so cool.
I
Or
love
like his like
that.
side
Yes.
business that he's doing, right? Like, I'm like,
Yes.
I have no idea you did that.
I
Like,
love that. Yeah.
yeah.
I feel like that just everything has come full circle
Mhm.
because you've put yourself out there, you've pursued the thing, and we need a community to,
Mhm.
help us do the thing. And you've created the community
Mhm.
for this. So,
Mhm.
yeah, if you're ever struggling to believe if your dream could get bigger, just give me a call. I'd be so happy to.
We need to chat more about it. Maybe
Yeah.
you can help me elevate my dreams on this.
I'll be so happy to be your cheerleader
Yes.
because I feel like I've learned from you. I feel very inspired by you. I know other people will. I know there's parts of this conversation that are going to resonate so well with other people. Tell me, where can they find you? Where can people connect with you?
Yeah. So the best way to connect with me would be on LinkedIn for sure. Just my name, Claire Edwards. And I also am on Substack. So that's where I put my newsletter. So you can find me there. Yeah. Anyone like DM me, connect with me. I love chatting about this stuff. So want to hear the yellows that you are up to.
Yeah, I love it. And then when the time comes that we can start pre-ordering your book, I know that I'll be in line to get on that list too.
Oh my gosh. Okay, the book process is very, very long. So it probably won't be available till what is it? Spring of 2027. So
Okay.
it has some time to go, but my TEDx should be out this summer. So
Okay.
that is like the 12 and a half minute version of my book.
Okay.
If you want like a sneak peek. But yeah, if you connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm actually writing about I share a monthly update of what it has been like to write a book alongside my 9 to 5 and all the other balancing of my life. So
Yes.
I've been sharing a monthly update there of like what does it actually look like to write a book in the morning with the 9 to 5 job? So if you're interested in that, you can go and find it on LinkedIn and Substack. I'm doing the updates there.
Awesome. And I'll make sure that I have a link to all of it
Mm-hmm.
in the show notes here.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait until we have a chance to talk again. Thank
Yes.
you so much for coming and sharing with all of us today. Yeah, you're such a just like a burst of just joy and inspiration. I'm glad we got to talk. Okay.
Thank you. This conversation was so fun.
Yes, same. Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Compass Stories. I'm your host, Veronica Sterling. And if you've enjoyed this, please subscribe to hear more and share it with others. Thank you for doing so. That's really helpful for me. To learn more about my message and connect, you can find me at www.veronicasterling.com.